Chubstep.
Jrad.
Creating the oil judgment.
Steed. Chubstep.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the king of the jungle.
This is Dulé Hill, aka Gus Silly Pants Jackson. But you know what? You can call me the #1 fan of the #1 podcast in the world, Chubstep.
Well, I can't say that they know, my brother. What a top.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
And the show started. And welcome back, Season 3, Episode 2. We're coming at you a big episode. We got a big guest. We got Jared's back. Steed's back. And this week, what are we talking, Jay? Tell them what we're talking.
Talking Lego, Steed. Yeah, we were back. Steed, we were actually back all the previous weeks. We've always been here.
What?
To be back, don't you have to leave at some point?
We left for the week, the 6 days that people...
Oh, the 6 days that people didn't get the episode.
This time it's like fair. 7 days. I think.
You're right.
We give them an extra day, like a day off.
Sure.
I saw something.
Right.
Trump's taking Veterans Day away. So we're giving you Chubstep Day.
Professional Lego builder coming up, Randall Wilson. We're going to welcome him on the show right now.
Recording live from somewhere.
All right, so Randall, I want to bring you on. We started doing this recently where we're doing different like themed episodes, and Lego stuck out to me not only because I watched the show, I watched you on the show, but we got an email from one of our listeners talking about this disaster that happened in 1997 where a ship flipped over and people Legos are still washing up on the beach. So I'm like, all right, we got to do an episode on Lego. So then I thought I'd reach out to you. So if people cannot see this on video right now, you were standing in room. Is that all Lego pieces behind you?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So how many different pieces do you think you have there, or different types, or do you have any idea?
Generally it's sorted by type.
Okay.
The color sorting is under this. So you see this like counter.
Yeah,
it's in my video. There's a view of my camera. All the color sorting is down there. So those are more basic bricks, and these up top that you can see on both sides, they're kind of grouped together. So some of my Technic stuff is over here, my plant stuff, and then other stuff over here is just random pieces like connections and whatnot. So to answer your question, it's probably like 200 different types of pieces floating around here, because there's another wall here that you can't see that also has some more toolboxes like these. So,
I'm going to be honest. I didn't even comprehend that those were Legos because my experience has been so unorganized. I couldn't even fathom the idea.
It helps when you got to work on something. You got to know where stuff is. So I'm working on some. It's funny. It's very funny, the timing of this, because there's a Brick World Chicago convention here in, this week that I'm getting prepared for. I got to finish some of my Power Rangers weapons before. So, when I'm putting stuff together, like I got to figure out where stuff is. So here's like one of them.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
So,
So is that something that somebody is paying you to do, or are you coming up with that and trying to kind of sell it at a thing? Or I know you have a combination of both that you do in general, but
this one's particular is just something that I wanted to do. So some people use conventions to motivate themselves to build stuff.
Sure.
But sometimes I don't, so this year I wanted to try, and I had built the Red Ranger sword over there last November, December, and I was like, I think I can do all 5 by the time this convention comes in June. So I'm like right there. I got to finish this Pink Ranger bow that's right out of view that's on this table, but this one is just for me, but others, I can get commissioned to build.
Very cool. So what got you started into Legos? I know you kind of started with architecture. Where did you, like, how did but I'm assuming you were playing with Legos younger?
3-4 years old.
Yeah.
It was on and popping. since then. If you're on video, you can see it, but for y'all, this is the first Lego set I ever remember building.
Really? A Technic one. Okay.
Yeah. So it says like 9 years old, I think, on an age of 7 through 14.
There you go.
Yeah, but I was 4 building this. So and these ages are suggested. There's a lot of kids that, blow past the age range and build it. So ever since then, I've been building, and then me doing architecture was just me trying to figure out how to turn Lego into something that I felt like I could do, as a day job as a grown up. So I couldn't think of anything else. So that's where I ended up.
Nice. Is that because what's the most memorable set that you've ever built?
I'm looking at it out of view, but that
Sure.
would be the Lego Model Team Giant Truck from 1996. I was 10 years old. That's probably my favorite set. I actually bought that in Seattle a couple years ago. Yeah, there was a convention out there, and I was just looking at random old used sets that people sell, and I hadn't had it for a while. And I saw that they were selling it at a decent price, so I jumped on it, and so I rebuilt it, and that's my favorite set.
Do you have a favorite one? How about not a set that you built, but just something you've been commissioned to or something you decided to do on your own? Just kind of what's been I know that's probably tough because there's a bunch of things, but what kind of stands out to you as like one of your favorite things you've built just in general?
Is the thing that I actually remember or I think of as my favorite build is the thing that I started building right before my season of Lego Master started in 2021, which is the Lego version of the Chicago Theater.
Cool.
So I built it's 6 feet 6 inches tall. And the sign that hangs outside of the Chicago Theater, the vertical one, takes up like half of that measurement. And then the bottom of it, which is its base, is just kind of like a stylized version of the building of the Chicago Theater. So that took me like 14 months to build.
Wow.
Yeah, I had to wait for specific pieces to come out because I'm a purist. Like I don't use like knockoff Lego. I use everything that they use. And I don't paint anything. I don't drill. I don't like manipulate the Lego. I just use it the way that it comes out the molds out in Denmark. And so how many pieces? Probably over like 6,000 if I had to guess. It's probably more, but yeah, like I've won a couple awards with it at different Lego conventions where AFOLs, adult fans of Lego like me, we just go and just exhibit and display stuff. And so that's like my signature build, I guess, if you could say that.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering, when you're doing the like custom ones, do you have to just buy a bunch of sets, or do they sell the pieces individually?
So you can buy Lego individually. So if you needed, so if I was building let me think of something. If I was building like a trophy, let's say, right? I might need like 72 yellow 2x2 bricks. Like I don't need to buy all the sets in order to obtain that number.
Yeah, like I can 20 Indiana Jones sets that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It like blow my budget out the water. Like, like no, the trophy's not worth that. But I'll go to a website and then I'll just say I'll create a wanted list and say I might need 72 of these 2x2 yellows. I might need 30 of these black 2x4s, so on and so forth. And it'll automatically sort for me which vendors are selling these, and it optimizes it so that I don't have to buy from 50 different vendors. I might be able to get them from like 3. So it's because it's easier to do it that way. And sometimes if I need to do something in a pinch, I might buy a set that has it just so I don't have to wait for shipping and whatnot. But that's how I get my pieces. And, so far so good. As long as you're not in a rush, you know, it'll be fine. If it's in a rush, then you might be under the thumb of shipping and handling woes.
Paying a premium for those.
Yeah, buddy.
So on the other side of this, is there something you think you've built that you didn't get enough credit for? Like you're like, oh, I thought that was awesome, but people were like, you just didn't get the feedback you were thinking you were going to get.
Dang. Anything that I built that I thought I should have had more credit for. I'm looking around. I think that, man, I built this I built this small art piece of one of the A Tribe Called Quest like stick figures years ago. Hadn't posted it anywhere, but I can display that sometimes when I go to some of my like conventions and whatnot. I think it's so niche. It can be seen as so niche. Like if you don't know about A Tribe Called Quest and where that subject matter, like the reference is lost on you. It looks good, but you might not get excited and be like, oh, that's like Q-Tip, Fife, Jerobi, Ali Shaheed Muhammad, stuff like that. So, but that's that I hadn't really built for an audience and consumption of art until after I was on Lego Masters. And I really understood, like, not just building for yourself, but how do you build for people to absorb it and consume it.
That's always my issue with the few times that I ever do karaoke. It's like there's a song I want to do, but that's really more for me. If you want to karaoke, you have to do a song that's for everybody in the audience. Like if nobody knows how to sing along to it, you can't do that song.
He was good up there.
No, it's hard to really you just jump out of like I don't think everybody really waves and sings along to George Michael. You know what I'm saying? That's one of my favorites. I love singing this stuff. You know what I'm saying? But nobody's gonna get up and sing like, right? So I get it. What's yours?
Oh my God. Let's see. I have a list of karaoke. I do karaoke maybe at the most once a year, but I keep a constant list going of
good
karaoke. Like the amount of times I think about it versus the amount of times I actually do it. I've been trying to do like more ridiculous ones, like Lucky by Britney Spears.
Oh my God.
Or, like what one time I did Picture, the Sheryl Crow and what's the
Kid Rock.
Kid Rock, and I did the Sheryl Crow part.
Good.
With another,
Picture. I think that's Picture. From the Cocky album. I think that's what that's from.
I don't know the album. I know the song.
I used to listen to so
but like I don't know. Like again, I have this list of there's like I don't know 10 things on this list, but I've only done I think about it a lot. But the one I did Criminal by Fiona Apple one time.
Ooh.
Which is just a ridiculous song. But again, I also like a lot of hip hop stuff, but that doesn't always play to the crowd, and I gotta be careful what I'm saying, and if it
you gotta like move.
Don't read too fast.
Yeah, you got
I did Diggity one time, and it wasn't a clean. I had to censor myself as I'm
correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, sorry. Enough of that.
Oh, good.
I want to talk a little bit about your time on Lego Masters. So I'm always curious about how the timing of that show goes, because sometimes these builds are like 12 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours. Do they give you little breaks? So they're like, hey, everybody's got an hour-long break now, or does it just like you had to switch off with your partner? How does that work?
Bruh, it's more like a 15-20 minute break.
Okay.
So and I have to be fair too. When I filmed, that was at the height of the pandemic.
Yeah.
So I filmed in February, March of 2021. So that was, they were trying to get in and get out as quickly as possible so that you didn't run the risk of, getting infected or, catching anything. So, the time, the breaks were, if you had to go to the bathroom, you had to do it on the clock. They didn't pause the clock. So, and then the bathroom wasn't close. So that was probably like 10 minutes you would lose round trip.
Yeah.
Which you would think doesn't matter in the span of like 10 hours, but it matters a lot. You're not taking your partner to the bathroom and like communicating, this is what I have to do. Can you do this in the 10 minutes? So, when you build for 10 hours too, it's not over the course of a whole day. So what ends up happening is, you build and then at a certain time, it's time to go home and, they just dry clean your clothes and you come back.
I see.
So camera magic, TV magic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make sure your bed head is combed out and picked out and whatnot. Make sure it matches yesterday, and then you just keep on rolling.
You can't shave if you were had a mustache
no,
the day before.
No. If you grow 5 o'clock shadows real fast, you're gonna have a problem.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Are there times? Okay, so like after like parts maybe you weren't on the show or other seasons, if you watched those, were there like prompts that you saw? You're like, oh man, if I had that, I would have killed it.
Man, I think there was one where, because I just started watching season 5 of Lego Masters. I would say this is an easy one. It's a bit of a cop out, but there's a Star Wars challenge on the episode of season 5 where they blow up half of a planet, and it's just flat on the top, and then you can just build something where you would show people, what you and your team are about, what your interests are and whatnot. So I think you get to pick a planet at random, and then you have, I think that one was 10 hours to build. So, and I mean, you can't see it here, but Star Wars fan. Myself, not special in that way, but yeah, I went to Celebration when it was here in Chicago in 2019. Nice. Yeah, so that was sick. So, I would have loved any excuse to be able to meld some of my interests with my knowledge of Star Wars. I read a little bit of the EU, pre-Disney. So I would have been able to toss some stuff in there, but something like that, I really would have been in my bag for sure.
What planet? What planet would you have done?
So on the show they have different type of colors, but you can understand like if it's a tan, it's a desert planet. If it's like blue and green or something like.
Me and Steed know Star Wars enough. You can talk any of the. I mean, we're pretty big Star Wars fans.
Oh yeah, no, I'm talking about for the audience. I'm talking about for the audience.
Sure. Yeah, we don't care about that.
No, yeah. I would have done something like forgive me if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but Coruscant. Coruscant. There you go.
Yeah, big city.
Yeah. Something like that has that city texture that I wouldn't been able to play with, like building heights and just like the spaceships and all that type of stuff, like in the air. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I can see myself. 10 hours is up, and I have one building built. No, what do you mean?
And you got to move fast.
What do you mean
right?
we're done?
That show is very much one where you got to have command of your knowledge, like on hand, and you can't design stuff outside of the clock. Like when the clock says go, like that's when you start for real. There's no cheating ahead of time, and you can't reference anything. You don't got an internet. You don't got like Ravens. Nobody can send you none of those. Like it's very strictly just you, your brain, and a pencil and paper. You sketch it out and then you go to work.
Wow.
So everybody that does it and the work that you see on that show, like it's impressive that they're able to do that, whatever it is in that time, because it's really just them inside of a closed set working as best they can to create something out of their own mind.
Wow. So the process, when you start thinking about it, are you building these like if you were building a city? Would you just start from the ground up and see where it goes, or do you have like a image in your head and start building that way and change as needed?
Definitely image in your head. You got to think about composition first, because there are certain ways that somebody that might not be as well versed in Lego, consume like pieces of art. You consume it through color information, you consume it through shapes, you consume it through depth. So there's a lot of different things you got to think about. And then on the show, you have to, make a decision and stick with it, because to remove it and go back, it is costly time-wise. So you got to kind of trust your gut and communicate as well, and have a good division of labor with your partner and understand, okay, if I'm better at designing ships and you might be better at just stacking bricks and getting shapes of buildings, like you do that. Because if the focal point is the spaceship and communicating movement or an action or something in the scene, you want to make sure that looks good and isn't like an afterthought.
Yeah. Cool. So what's the biggest difference between, obviously, no, speed is part of it, but like if somebody's just paying you to build something versus you being on the show, like what's the biggest difference between you being watched versus you doing it on your own?
Like you said, besides time, there is I have my brick pit ain't as big as you can probably tell being on the show. There's a lot of pick. I think they have like 1 million bricks or something is what they say, or 5 million bricks. Yeah, no, not nearly as much. But I can order those, so that's fine. So I think the biggest thing is being able to have the space to review and really think through a concept and iterate. Like on the show, you really don't get time to iterate. You just kind of got to go with it. And then they judge you based on your instinct, essentially. But when you have time to think through concepts and say, okay, this first thing that I created is good, but it can be better. And you just keep going from there. So that refinement is probably the biggest difference I can think of.
Yeah. Cool. So the judging criteria, if you had to change something about it, what do you think it would be?
The judging. So they judge primarily on aesthetics, storytelling, and technical ability. So you got to make something move. You got to be able to tell what the story is without having to explain it, and then it's got to look good. What would I change about the judging criteria? I
Or you're happy with it.
Yeah, I was to say,
see,
yeah,
that's like a trap question. It's like
it
asking an NBA
is.
player if what they changed about reffing. Like,
sorry, because I'm
like, I can't
undercover.
Well, I mean, there's some things to change about reffing for sure that are more.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen the NBA playoffs lately? Like,
Yeah.
OMG. Yeah. So no, I think the judging criteria is good. I think, here's something that people don't think about that I think will affirm my answer and say it's good, is you can hit all three of these things. It can have a good story, it can have technical ability, it can have it can look good. But if it doesn't hit the brief, then it doesn't count. So when you watch an episode of Lego Masters and you think about somebody making a dope build, but if it doesn't address the prompt and what they asked for, then it's irrelevant.
That's my big problem with cooking shows too.
Oh, really? Tell me more.
Well, when they're like, all right, you have to use this ingredient. This is your secret ingredient. And it's just, kind of sprinkled in there in one dish. And then the other person goes and makes it a main part of their dish, but it's like, I don't know, a raw eggplant.
Right.
The dish is worse because the other people just ignored it. Yeah. And they just, use some shredded eggplant skin or something.
Yeah. So that makes it fair, I would say, because there are some things that you like. If I asked you to use carrot, in your dish, but you use an eggplant instead, but it's bomb, like you didn't use carrot, so you failed. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't get sent home, but you don't get rewarded as the winner of that challenge. So that's like a fourth thing that people don't think about the show that I think evens the playing field.
Okay, cool.
That's fair. Do you think Arnett makes his voice deeper for the show? Or or does he actually sound that deep? Like you've talked to him in person, it actually is that deep?
It actually is that deep. Like I thought it was a put on. I thought it was cap. But then, the camera shut off and we just talking, shooting the breeze, and he actually talks like that.
Yeah.
Like actually talks like that. So I think if anything, like his roles that you might see him in TV and movies, like he's putting on for that more so than Lego Masters.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Just a random Lego question. What's the worst brick? Is there a brick you don't like to use?
What's the worst brick? I'm looking around. There is There is there's an airplane brick that came in a minifig that you can barely connect anything to. It's trash. Like I bought like 20 of them thinking I was gonna do something with it. And you really gotta be creative to do something with that. And there's really no points on the airplane to connect a brick to. So that
Dang.
one probably by far. Yes.
That's fair.
Sorry to all y'all that like that particular airplane minifig that you know what I'm talking about.
We'll get some emails.
Yeah.
All right. Has somebody requested something and you're like, no, I'm not building that?
Man, I wish I had some like rated R, rated X things. But everybody that I talk to got common sense. They got common sense. They got home training. I've been on the kids show, dog. Like you gonna mess up my brand. Like, and if I did do it, I wouldn't tell anybody that it was me.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
You're not taking a picture with that one.
No. Hell no.
Yeah.
Not in my portfolio at all.
Exactly. Don't tell anybody I built this. Is there something that you've always wanted to build, or like a group you've always wanted to work with that you're kind of waiting on?
Something I've always wanted to build, or a group I've always wanted to work with. When you say group, what do you mean by that?
Well, like somebody like commissioning, like, hey, like say you're a big Wu-Tang fan, right? Wu-Tang wants you to build their logo and something, or something like that.
Man, I was actually, so this is a two-parter. So I actually got to be able to work with one of Jay-Z's companies, Paper Planes, last year to do a set for them in store. And that was pretty cool because one of my nicknames from my friends in college was Rock, from Rockefeller, from his old record label. So it was kind of like a full circle moment. I did that with my friend Sarita. Business partner Sarita. Yeah. So that was cool because she's from New York. So she's tapped into all that. So that was great. So I would love to do like a big like Rockefeller logo out of Lego. Like I think that would be super dope to like hang from the ceiling and have it like at a gala or something. Like that would be fire. I think another thing that another group that I probably would work with, I would love to do some like Missy Elliott stuff. Because her videos and her music is so like out of here, like imaginative and whatnot. So I could see that married with Lego being something intense. I would love to have that challenge of coming up with something that would be either at a show or in a museum or something like that. I just love the subject matter and how she creates, as a creative. So that would be great.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for some reason every time I hear Missy Elliott, I think of Pootietang. She was, I don't know if you've seen Pootietang. She's in Pootietang.
Sarate.
Oh yeah,
Sarate.
I get told I look like Pootietang sometimes.
Word. I kind of see it. Are you missing some hang time in the back?
If I like, I don't. I
you
had
the mustache. When you had more of the mustache, it looked
there's
more
the
like
comparison photo of me side by side with Pootietang.
Oh, you got you got the ponytail in the back that I don't see.
I got no hair.
This is maybe a little bit ago.
I got hair in the back. I'll grow a ponytail.
Okay, you on the way? You on the way back? Okay.
Yeah, I'll get it ready for Halloween or something.
Yeah. Do you have your own minifig? Like, did you get to keep the one from the show, or
no? So they just make that for the show, but. One of the things that I was fine with not keeping it is because like, in the show and still to this day, like I have a part in the middle of my hair, but Lego didn't make that hair piece for a while until one of the Black Panther sets, like a couple years ago. So I have to make my own sig fig, which a lot of us do that either have been on the show or just in the Lego community in general. So I just have to make mine. I have the hair piece, but I've just been lazy. I ain't put it together. I've been, traveling the world, whatnot, slight flex, but haven't had time to put a sig fig together. Yeah.
Nice. Steed, any questions for Randall?
Yeah. So you do team building, like corporate team building. I saw on your site. Run us through that real quick. What that would be like a session.
So when we talk about like team building with like, at corporations or companies and things like that, it can be something that is more intentional, like using a methodology called serious play, which is essentially using Lego to communicate with team members. If there's like, something that you want to improve or talk through on the team, like issues with collaboration or communication or leadership or anything like that, partnership. So when in my old days, I think of situations like if I'm working as a designer in corporate America and I work with, the tech team and a product team on a regular, then there might be questions around, processes and how things have gone on to up to this point. And I might ask the team, which is like a cross section of people from, design, product, and tech, say, okay, build out, an example of how this process makes you feel, or how the last process made you feel about coming out with this product. And some people might build like, a fortress, or and then illustrate through words like, okay, this is how I feel. Me being on this side of it, everybody outside is doing this work, but I'm inside, like not being communicated with. So stuff like that is what kind of goes on when it comes to team building. So you get to play still, but it's serious, right? Serious play. So, and it doesn't have to be like pretty. It doesn't have to be something that looks good. And
you don't go around.
No, you're not getting points for that, right? You can just, if I build something that looks like a truck, but I say it's an elephant, it's an elephant. You know what I mean? Like nobody can challenge me on that. You're not wrong. That's however I sell it, that's how you got to buy it. So that's an example of something that you could do with Lego in a team building setting for, corporations and stuff.
Awesome. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
All right.
So Randall, where do people find you if they want to contact you to do any of your multiple services that you can offer?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at Rocksmox, ROCSMOCS. You can visit my website at randall-wilson.com, RANDALL-WILSON, like Mr. Wilson, Dennis the Menace, easy reference. And yeah, email me at hello@randall-wilson.com. I love to, talk to you, get to know what you're looking for, build anything and everything. So far, so good. I've been able to, serve a lot of different clients and be all over the world doing it and help them achieve their goals. So it's been great.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Yeah, man. Love talking to y'all.
Appreciate
it was great.
Hi, this is Billy Bob Thornton. Welcome to my official website. And as Sage says, what's up?
All right. That was Randall Wilson. Loved having him on. Chicago guy.
Yep. Big thanks to Randall.
Pro. I think that's kind of a lot of people's dream is to be building Legos for money.
It really sounds like an awesome job.
Yes.
It's like, I was just thinking about it and I'm like, man, there's probably only like 6 people that get to have that job.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Exactly. It's pretty sweet. Yeah. I'm going to go back to the story that I referenced when I was talking to Randall here. I'm going to take you back to it's not true crime, but just a natural disaster story here.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is the worst toy-related environmental disaster in history, Steve.
The worst? Because there's been a few
toy-related environmental disasters.
There's been a few bad toy-related environmental disasters.
Okay, well, this is the one article that Chubstep Matt sent me, and that's why we got this started here.
Okay.
I'm just going to tell you about, so you could get into the other ones. 1997. This is off the coast of Cornwall, England. There was a 28-foot wave. It hits a ship called the Tokyo Express. It was a large cargo ship. It's on its way to New York. Okay. 62 containers fall off this cargo ship. It rolled a full 60 degrees. So, that's pretty crazy that they could roll that far over and not flip over. But it lost the thing.
Well, it just started dumping cargo.
Yeah, it just started. Well, yeah, but I mean, the whole thing didn't completely flip over and capsize.
Yeah.
So 4.8 million Lego pieces fall into the water.
That's a lot of pieces.
Yes. 3.2 million of those pieces are ones that can float in water. And that is why today, since 1997, they are still washing up on shore in Cornwall, England.
It's only in Cornwall.
I know. It's crazy. And it says it'll take 1,300 years for those Lego pieces to degrade naturally.
Wow.
If you wait. So people pick them up. If you see them, pick them up.
That's quality material.
Yeah.
I'll say, for Lego.
Yeah. So Steve, tell me about some of these other things.
Well, you know about the balloon, the other natural disasters. These are just off the top of my head. I didn't have these prepared, but the balloon
we talked
disaster.
about but these aren't Lego related. But yes, that was not a toy. Do you consider a balloon a toy?
I consider a balloon a toy.
Okay, you consider a balloon a toy.
I've smacked them at kids' heads plenty of times. They're a toy.
A good point. Good point. So there's that one. Yeah, but I'm gonna find the episode where we talked about it.
There was also a bouncy ball disaster. PlayStation, I think it was PlayStation or Sony. They released hundreds of thousands of bouncy balls in the streets of San Francisco for to promo the PS2 or something. And it was they just obviously could not contain them, and they smashed car windows and houses windows, and it was not good.
Oh God.
Lego ship, no property damage, but some people probably would have stepped on them at the beach and hurt their little foot, because that's one of the biggest, worst pains you can have, if I remember. Which we should have asked him how he combats
stepping on Legos.
How he combats stepping on Legos.
That would have been a good one to ask. What the ironic thing about this is that most of the 4.8 million pieces were from the Lego Pirates and Lego Aquazone sets.
Yeah, that is. Yeah,
they were both water-themed Lego sets.
That's great.
I'll give you very quick history of Legos.
Okay.
1932 starts up. Ole Kirk Christensen was a guy that, Ole or Ole Miss, OLE, Kirk
Christensen
is a guy that started this 1932 Great Depression. He was a furniture maker, started making miniature furniture, which led him to make toys. Lego is from Legat, which is Danish for play well.
Oh.
And then 1958 they got the kind of official look that they have now.
The Legos.
Yeah, Legos. Yeah.
Okay.
So we talked about Will Arnett earlier.
Yeah.
He's the host of Lego Masters. Will Arnett, I would say the first time I remember him was Arrested Development. Remember that?
Yes, I remember that show.
Yes, starring Jason Bateman.
Mm-hmm. And
Jason
Will Arnett.
Bateman was in the movie Extract, 2009, with Ben Affleck.
I walk right into it every time.
Okay. I'll do, I got a few Lego facts here. Do you have anything else with Legos you want to go through, Steve?
Yeah. So I was looking up Legos, Lego price, Lego cost.
Yeah.
Most expensive Lego set ever on the market. Well, I don't know. Of all time. No, it is. Millennium Falcon.
I knew it was. I always see posts people talking about the Millennium Falcon. It's like $800 or something.
$849.99.
Yeah.
And it is a 7,541 piece model.
Wow.
So if you're talking price per piece, PPP, price per piece, you're getting value.
What is it? How many pieces you said it was?
7,541 pieces, $849. $869. So you're getting five.
It's like 6 cents a piece.
Yeah, you're getting 6 PPD, 6 piece per dollar.
6 cents per piece.
And it looks cool.
It does look cool. I've seen it. There's a lot of memes of people the money I think I have, and it'll be the Millennium Falcon, that one, and then they'll be what I actually have, and it's just I think there's a much worse version of the Millennium Falcon.
Oh no,
they have out there, or just a single piece that's a Millennium Falcon. Anyway, yeah, I've seen people always say that's the holy grail of the Lego
holy grail of the Lego.
That's just
world.
Crazy that's. I mean, first of all, take a while. It's impressive. It's got to take up a lot of room too.
Let's see. The cheaper Millennium Falcon that costs $500 is 5,000 pieces. It measures 33 inches in length.
Oh my God.
The big boy one, this doesn't say.
They're
imagine bigger.
Okay, I mean, at that point, if you're at $500, you might as well just splurge for the full thing.
Yeah.
Do an easy bet. Just do a quick bet, roulette, like we did last week. Put it on red or black, one of those two, and then double your money, and then buy the fancier Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, or buy two. Who cares? Yeah. You're rich.
Yep, exactly. Okay, here's a couple fun facts, Steed. Or did you have more with the pricing?
Nope.
Okay. They say there are more Lego minifigures on Earth than people.
More like Lego men?
Lego little minifigures are the little gut people.
There's more Lego men than men?
Yes.
Wow.
That's what they say.
I didn't expect that.
Apparently Lego is the world's largest tire manufacturer. They make the most amount of tires than any of the other
I believe
brands.
That.
Not the quantity of rubber, the amount of tires.
No. Yeah, the amount of tires.
Yes.
I believe that.
They've been to space.
I knew that.
Yep. Do you know they're called studs on the top, right?
I did not know.
The bumps on the top are called studs.
But it makes sense.
There was one time a boy in New England found a piece of Lego stuck in his nose. It was there for 2 years.
Oh, man. How do you find it?
I won't get into it. And he realized.
That was a Lego?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And then my last thing here is some of the original Legos were made of wooden toys.
Oh. Oddly similar to Lincoln Logs.
Oddly similar to Lincoln Logs. Good bing bong there, Steed, with Frank Lloyd Wright's son inventing Lincoln Logs.
I did almost boycott this whole episode because I'm such a Lincoln Log purist, but
I never heard you even. I didn't know that, but that's good to know.
I am
a purist.
Yeah. I like the way the logs go together.
There's a lot less you can do with Lincoln Logs. Turns out that's a very similar style.
Yeah, well, some people don't. They know how to make box. They think they make box.
I'm really good at making the boxes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. No, it's good. It's simple man, simple mind.
Yeah.
Right? All right, we'll wrap it up there. Chubstep.podcast@gmail.com. Write us. Check us out on YouTube. Like I said, Randall's our number one fan on YouTube. He just admitted it. He said he subscribes every day. I'm putting some words in his mouth, but he did make some references that are going to be more relevant if you're watching YouTube. You're going to see the actual stuff behind him.
Oh yeah,
which is pretty cool. So he has this whole room full of Legos, his little workshop there. So cool stuff. That's it. No episodes once a week. Share episodes with a friend if you enjoy it. The show has ended. Be gone.
Now you know you got to go.
Peace. This is Yasin.